everyone. My name is Elizondo and I teach in the mathematics department. Before working with Well-Trained Mind Academy, I was a college professor of mathematics. Personally, I am a visual learner and I teach the way I learn. I have to see every single step ahead of time so I know how to start and what comes next. I need to see where things come from and why they get eliminated. In the classroom, I also use the see one, do one, teach one method. I explain an example, giving the student time to ask questions and point out any patterns that they might see. Then we complete an example as a class where I follow the steps provided by the students, which reduces math anxiety and it helps students feel comfortable participating. Finally, if time allows, I ask for volunteers to take full control of a question and provide a solution. The lesson you are going to see shows up in week 6 of an Algebra 2 Saxon class and in week 12 of an Algebra 2 Art of Problem Solving class. This presentation is based on an Algebra 2 Saxon class. While the lesson sample was recorded without students, in the classroom, students are always encouraged to participate. I hope to see you soon in one of my classes. Hello everyone, in today's lessons we are going to cover dividing polynomials. So, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, you probably learned how to divide 533 by 12. So this is what you did. We are going to divide 533 by 12. And we began with the following process. First we tried to see how many times does 12 go into 53. So this is the division part. So 12 can go into 53 4 times. Once we found how many times 12 could go into 53, these values get multiplied. So we multiply 12 times 4, and that's going to give us 48. Then these two values get subtracted. We subtract 53 minus 48, and that is going to be 5. The next step, we bring down the next value. In this case is another 3. And we try all over again. We begin. How many times can 12 go into this new 53? And of course, it's going to be 4 one more time. And we multiply the 12 times the 4, which gives us another 48. These two get subtracted. And then we have another 5. Now, how did we know that we couldn't continue anymore? It's because we didn't have anything else to bring down. So then we stopped. What did that mean for us? It just means that 533 divided by 12 is going to be the quotient, that's 44, and then a fraction of the remainder divided by the divisor. So 5 over 12. And that was our answer. So we're going to use the same process to divide polynomials. So let's get to it. In this example, they're asking us to divide. Let's do the setup. 4x to the third minus 3x squared plus 7x plus 3 by x minus 3. So how we're going to do these processes? The very first thing is we're going to divide. Now, it might be a little difficult to see how many times can x minus 3 go into this big, huge polynomial. So we're going to take it into pieces. The only thing we're going to divide is 4x to the third by x. So we're going to divide the first term of the dividend by the first term of the divisor. And if you remember your rules of exponents, and this becomes 4x to the second. If you're having trouble seeing this, this is the same as having 4x to the third is 4 times x times x times x divided by x. That means that one from the numerator and one from the denominator will get divided out, leaving us with 4x times x, which is still 4x squared, the answer that we've got before. So then that becomes part of the quotient. That's what we're going to be multiplying by, this 4x squared. So then the x minus 3 will get multiplied by the 4x squared. So let's do that. We're going to multiply the 4x squared by x minus 3. So 4x squared times x will be 4x to the third power. And 4x squared minus 3 will be minus 12x squared. All right, so let's write it here. This is what we're going to be subtracting. So this is 4x to the third power minus 12x squared. Let's do the subtraction. Now, this is usually the most difficult part of the whole process of dividing polynomials, and that's because we tend to make mistakes with our signs. What does that mean? Let's see. We can probably see when we subtract 4x to the third minus 4x to the third, that's going to get eliminated. The problem comes when we are subtracting the minus 3x squared minus that negative 12x. And if you don't see it, let me write it on the side. This would be negative 3x to the second power minus this negative 12x to the second power. Remember, we are subtracting two negative values. So when we subtract a negative value, that's going to turn into a positive. So this is negative 3x squared plus 12x squared. Because they're different signs, this is going to be 9x to the second. So then these two become 9x to the second. What's the next step? Of course, we bring down the next term. So let's bring that positive 7x. And we start all over again. We start our division by seeing how many times does x go into 9x squared. So 9x squared divided by x, remember we only divide the first terms, and that becomes 9x. So this is what we are going to multiply the x minus 3 by. These two get multiplied. Let's do that. So this is 9x times x minus 3. Perfect. 9 times x will be 9x squared, and then 9x times minus 3, that will be a minus 27x. So we write it. 9x squared minus 27x. Don't forget, these are now going to be subtracted. So let's subtract. 9x squared minus 9x squared. Of course, that's going to get eliminated. But let's do the subtraction of the next two terms on the side, just so that we don't make a mistake. So this will be 7x minus negative 27x. These minus negative will turn into a positive. So 7x plus 27x will be 34x. So we write it down. And don't forget, we need to check if there are other terms to bring down. In this case, we do have this plus 3. And then you're right, we're going to have to start all over again. Don't forget, we start with the division. We're trying to see how many times can x go into 34x. We only divide the first terms. So 34x divided by x, that would be 34. So that's what we're going to multiply this x minus 3 by. So let's do the multiplication. 34 times x minus 3, that is 34x. And then this is going to be negative 102. We write it down. 34x minus 102. This gets subtracted. Don't forget, be careful with the signs. So 34x minus 34x, that gets eliminated. And let's do the subtraction of the second terms on the side so we don't make an error with those minuses. Once more, subtracting the negative is going to turn into addition, which gives us 105. So this becomes 105. Now, how do we know that we are done dividing? The same as with the integers, since there is no other terms to bring down, then you have completed your division. Let's write our answer here. It will be the exact same thing as we did on the previous ones. That means that 4x to the third minus 3x to the second plus 7x plus 3 divided by x minus 3 is going to become the quotient, that is 4x squared plus 9x plus 34, plus that fraction that we create by taking the remainder divided by the divisor. So that will become 105 divided by x minus 3. Excellent.